Femme, Tondues, Boris Johnson and anti-Vaxers. Hello, my name is Eva and welcome to Jones Moans. I visited Brittany for many years before I moved here, and once I saw an elderly lady who looked like she had rickets. She had very bent legs and had to use 2 sticks to walk, and she was doubled over. Rickets affects bones in growing children. It's a disease that you get from lack of vitamin D, and so the problem is caused by a bad diet of the child or a bad diet of the pregnant woman carrying the child. You get vitamin D from mackerel, sardines and dairy products, and there should never be a lack of vitamin D or food generally in Brittany. Mackerel and sardines is the staple diet here. During World War II, the French administration was taken over by Germany, and the north of France was occupied and controlled by German soldiers. The German soldiers would have controlled every town and village in northern France, and there would have been a lot of extra mouths to feed the German soldiers. Supply chains of food would have been disrupted, and the food would have become scarce. Those in control will have decided where the food went, and those in control will have also decided who would father the next generation. This would have been over a 4-year period. At the end of the war, it's unlikely that everyone split up amicably. Horizontal collaborators, that's women who had relationships with the German soldiers, had their heads shaved as punishment for the betrayal against France and as a betrayal against the local men in their villages. This would have been a cheap price to pay for being able to feed yourself and your family. These women who had their heads shaved were referred to as les femmes tondues. Children born to horizontal collaborators were referred to as war babies. Food was scarce during and after the war. War babies and their mothers will have been last in the queue for food. There are likely to have been many cases of rickets across Brittany and northern France. Moving on 80 years, the first thing that happened after the declaration of war on COVID was that everyone was stopped from going to the hairdressers. This has probably been used to find out who kept to the lockdown rules, like if your hair looked ridiculous, you must be keeping to the rules because you didn't get it cut. Boris Johnson is still being hauled over the coals for his alleged behaviour during the lockdown. You'll probably find that this COVID inquiry is going to keep going until they have proof that the ex-Prime Minister broke the rules. It might be why he had to hand his phone over, because there's probably loads of selfies on there comparing all the pictures of Boris Johnson's hair to see if it suddenly looked normal during the lockdown. So he could have been to the hairdressers. All they've got at the moment is mad hair between 2019 when he was elected and 2022 when he was cancelled. Here's a prediction. In 2039, that will be 100 years after the outbreak of World War II, the common fisheries policy will still not have been sorted, Brexit will still not have been sorted, and many farm animals will have been slaughtered to make sure we are less reliant on meat. The COVID inquiry will still be running. In 2097, the new Lib Dems will get into power and get the UK back into Europe. The world will be a much healthier place as everyone will be vegan. In 2101, the COVID inquiry will conclude that all the people born during the lockdown who went on to develop rickets either did not have the COVID vaccination in their first few years, or they were born to women who refused to have the COVID vaccination during their pregnancy. Luckily, they won't need to make any laws to prevent anti-vaxxers getting the upper hand, as we will all be living under the rule of the World Health Organization. Thank you for watching.